We're here at Domain Summit London 2025. I am with Lars Jensen, the founder and CEO of ShortDot. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat.
Thank you for having me, Christian. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. You had a wonderful presentation earlier. And for anyone new to ShortDot, can you give us a one-liner of what problem your TLD set out to solve?
Yeah, I think we provide short, easy to remember domain names. That's a really short version as an alternative to traditional names.
I love it. That's a short description. Perfect.
Short.
uh, what gap in the industry did you see that made ShortDot worth starting?
Well, exactly that, actually. We see, of course, the traditional extensions were simply, how do you say it, overfilled. There was no more space, right? You're starting seeing advertising in Germany where the domain names are like, 24 letters, 25 letters long. And the whole idea behind domain names was that it's supposed to be easy to remember. And I've been working many years on the registrar side, and we had this opportunity with the registry. So we said, hey, that's a great idea. We did some data, looking into some data actually, seeing that most names are created on short extensions. And that's how we came up with ShortDot actually.
How do you decide which TLDs belong in your portfolio?
One of them is short, easy to remember, easy to pronounce, and generic. That's some of the criteria that we use for that.
What are the clear signals that a new TLD is resonating?
Uh, Of course, volume in the portfolio is one that can be a bit tricky, of course. Renewals, what we call good life site examples, people like you actually using our extensions is also a great thing. Very important, thinking out loud here. Very important thing as well, how many registrars are carrying your extensions, right? Because the more registrars that carry your extension, the bigger your audience is. So yeah, also important.
Creators and early stage founders care about short, memorable handles. How do you make your TLDs feel native to that audience?
Actually, through people like you, I would say that's one of the best ways I think we've learned to do it, because you guys actually get the attention for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. People listen. And that's the audience that we want to, that's our audience, right? That's our users. And it was harder actually, because they to get them to sit down, read a blog about all these things, explaining what a new extension is and blah, blah. They don't have time for that. They're already on to the next thing. But we get their attention, these 30 seconds, and you are able to explain them what it actually can do, that it can do the same for them as any traditional thing.
Yeah, I really enjoy domain education because there's so many misconceptions that the average
Exactly.
user have.
Exactly. That's what we need, more domain education, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in the entire industry, that's ultimately who you're trying to reach. That's what I love about the domain industry, since my focus is that end user. There's a lot of B2B and hosting and even WordPress, but in the domain industry, in the end, I mean, sure, like agencies need a lot of domain names, but who's buying the domain names? It's the agency's clients.
Yeah, yeah. No, I have no, and I think you're absolutely right. And also with the AI we're seeing now, what is going to be the structure of future companies? Is that going to be big organizations? Probably not. It's probably going to be individuals running several companies that will need several domains. So yeah, getting them to understand that is super important.
Yeah, I'm really curious to touch on the AI stuff because you blew my mind in your presentation earlier. Do you do you see AI buying domains in place of humans?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, definitely. I mean, as I said in the presentation, I see it as a new species coming
Yeah.
to a positive way. I'm not afraid, of course, as cautious. We need to be cautious, but I definitely see this as a new species. I don't think this happened since the human being almost. It's evolution for me, and I definitely seeing them going. Why not go to a registrar, transact? I asked the agent to go and do this, or the agents decide to build this business to the next level. I need a domain, right? Then they will go and do this transact. I already gave them credit card. I already gave them funds. Maybe it's crypto funds.
Sure.
So they will go and transact with the registrar and with the agent of the registrar. Now they'll create this domain. I absolutely see this happening
Wow. Yeah,
very soon.
it brought up something that I've never thought about before, which is AI spending your money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Having access to your card or your Nikki account.
Nikki account, yeah, and I can see we tested with Nikki in the beginning. Even like you would say to your agent, "Hey, send Christian 2 bitcoins," right? And it will go ahead and do that. Is that Christian? This Christian? Is it Christian.icu? Yeah, it is. That's what we envision with Nikki, is going that direction. Absolutely.
Wow.
You
That's
have your own Nikki
crazy.
agent, basically.
Do you think the rise of AI will increase demand for domains?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it will. There's so much prosperity, I think, for everybody out there with AI. And more prosperity will lead to more domains, more projects, more business, more transactions will simply lead to domains, as I see it. It is the trust anchor of the domain. Also, as I said, it's imagine if would you go and spend $500 on a subdomain, a business that was on some subdomain? No, you would not.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
you feel trusted as soon as it's a domain, a new domain or traditional. You've trusted. AI agents will be the same. You will be interacting with them if they have their own domain. We see ChatGPT right now, right? It's on its own name, and
Yeah.
and we will see the same with the other agents. So yeah, I foresee a big demand for more.
How do you see domains staying relevant with tools like ChatGPT, where they're making recommendations for products and websites, but most of the time it's a hyperlink in text?
Yeah. Well, it still refers you to websites, right? As soon as I need something more concrete, I really want to buy something, then it gives me the website, right? If I want a restaurant, it gives me the website of the restaurant, right? And then I will interact with that restaurant. If I want to contact you, it will give me yours. So it is still the anchor. It's easier. So yeah, I don't need to sit in Google. I can just talk. But in the end, I always end up in a domain at the moment I want to interact. If I want to do a transaction, I want to do a booking, I want to do all of these things, it's 90% of the cases it's ends up in a identity domain.
Any fast growing TLD faces the cheap equals spam perception risk. What are your guardrails to keep quality high?
That is true, and we definitely also learned a lot around that area. I would say, as a short thought, it's about having a good provider of abuse monitoring. We use IQ Global, which is a fantastic tool. They basically consolidate from, I think it's like 40 or even more different tools that scan the whole internet every day. They send us these reports, and we can see, okay, those names, that name potentially was used for something. We can see it. We can even pull up screenshots now, and then we can check it out. So from day one, have good monitoring on your extensions is super important.
How do you balance accessibility, usually in the form of low first year pricing, with long term reputation and renewals?
It definitely is a balance. There's no doubt, and it's hard to say where. I think that we have, with time, learned that it needs to be aggressive pricing because you are an alternative to start with. People can do exactly the same as with any traditional, and there is also traditionals out there that are very cheap. So we kind of try to be at that balance. Renewal in the same balance, same area as, I would say, the traditional ones. But then we have the premium ones, which is a completely different story, because if you look at acquiring a 2-letter, 3-letter.com, you're talking millions. And in the new extensions, mostly you will be talking $500 to $600 a year, where you can get a 2 or 3-letter name. So, yeah.
What makes a registrar a great partner for a new or non.com TLD?
Their willingness to communicate with their end users. Because if they don't want to communicate about, they don't want to explain, they don't want to put it listed or put it in anywhere, then it cannot sell. We very often heard from registrars, no, our end users don't want any new GTLDs. And we said, yeah, but you're not telling them about it, so they don't know, right? It's like you have a store and you're not selling any alternatives to the Coca-Cola. You're only selling the Coca-Cola, so how can they know? So you need to create that alternative and educate about it. If they're not willing to that, it's hard to work with them.
If you were launching a new TLD today, what would you be optimizing for in 2026?
Uh, Having all the registrars ready, having all the educational content ready, making sure that the premium names are super structured, and looking a lot on trends in terms of premium names as well, having good lists out to brokers, all of these, also corporated registrars. They actually sell more premium names than most think. Having that really well prepared, good time ahead of launch.
What's one mistake people make when they choose a domain that they later regret?
Oh, that's a good question. Never thought about that. I think something with sometimes too long, but it's with your own family names or things
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of myself. Some of the ones that I took were like, oh, Jensen's Consulting, something like that, right? It
Yeah.
becomes too long, but I feel I'm doing consulting and I'm Jensen and all of that. So yeah, I think maybe creating too long names. I think
Yeah,
you would probably stick more. I would wonder if we wouldn't look at renewals, which would be interesting. Again, shorter names, I think renew more because that's the one that they're more sticky. We're going to see that in the premium names as well, that they just, people keep short names longer.
yeah, I just did a video for Short Dot actually
Okay,
about
cool.
dashes and domain names.
Oh yeah,
That's one of
no,
my pet peeves,
no, no,
especially
not to
so
do.
I've seen dashes sometimes, and I'll look up the domain without dashes, and it's still available.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
Yeah, yeah,
compute that. I'm like,
that's
"Well."
and in Europe, we're seeing advertising on television with domains with dashes and yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
no.
if a company is investing so much money in television ads and still have names like that, you don't get it, but that's happening.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
Well, Lars, thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time.
Christian. It's always great talking to you.
Absolutely, and join us next year at Domain Summit. It's gonna be awesome.
See you there.